Hey guys, good morning. It is currently 8:45 on Tuesday, March 25th. Apologize for not posting last night. We were at the England-Latvia World Cup qualifier match, and the game ran late, and it took a while to take the tube home. So I was unable to post a video last night, but I'm going to be posting one this morning before we have our next day, before that begins. Today I'm going to be doing my third digital travel journal over the public historical marker aspect. So for this one, I have to discuss public spaces and memories, why they're important, what they mean to the nation, and whose interest does it serve. So I am deciding to do. Um, I'm gonna just say it's the Fulham Stadium because we took a tour of it yesterday, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about in it. But there's certain parts of the stadium that are unique to it, and that they are considered listed. And in the UK, just read one second. I have the definition up. A listed building is one that's been placed on one of the four statutory lists maintained by Historic England in England, Historic Environment Scotland in Scotland, and all the other countries within the British Isles. And they can't be demolished, extended, or altered without permission from the local planning authorities. So basically, in the situation like Fulham, the parts of their stands or how they get into the stadium, which I'll input pictures in later when I talk about, all of them couldn't be altered or changed or touched since they were so old and became historical unless they were requested to be altered and then approved by the agency within the country that does so and allows them to. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of that, why it's important, and what makes the Fulham Stadium unique because of this. So if I can remember, there were three main parts of the Fulham Stadium that made it unique, and then they combined it with some newer technology and newer stands. They create this unique atmosphere that you really don't see in many of the other modern stadiums. Um, the first is the ticketing booths and the turnstiles that get in the stadium. When you walk in, there are the stadium sits on this road, and there is this full line of turnstiles to get in. Toilet just flushed randomly. But there's I think there's 40. I want to say there's 47 of them. I could be wrong. You have to fact check me to make sure that's right. But they're all super skinny and narrow, and that's because our tour guide Ed told us that essentially the people in the 1900s, when it was made in 1905 or built in 1905, were much smaller than us, and so the turnstiles to get in are super skinny, and they're all these little black skinny doors that have to be manually opened every single time somebody walks through. And they were fortunate enough to be able to add the technology to scan yourself in, but um, they couldn't add the technology to like be able to open the door with the scanner. So there's somebody that has to sit in each turnstile and press manually every single time somebody walks into the stadium, which I thought was really interesting. And kind of, it's not, you don't see that anymore. Every single place you walk into now, you just scan the ticket off your phone and get in, which I think makes part of the Fulham experience extremely interesting. Um, the next interesting part I want to say, let me check what the name of it is. I'm pretty sure it's the Bobby Moore stand. I could be wrong. Could be a different name. Not the Bobby Moore stand. I don't know why I thought of that. It's the Bobby Moore statue outside of Wembley, which we saw last night. What is it called? The Johnny Haynes stand. That's what it is. He was one of the iconic players for Fulham we talked about. I can't type right now. Johnny Haynes stand. Fulham's the only thing I didn't look up, and I should have beforehand. Oh, well, here it's considered a grade 2 listed building, which I'll talk about in a second. But no, yeah, Johnny Haynes, a very iconic player for Fulham, very well respected within the club and its history. Played for the English national team. Um, they have a stand built after him, and the unique part about that stand is it is primarily wooden seating, which is not allowed anymore after a tragic accident a while ago where a fan accidentally had a cigarette lit that caught the whole stand on fire. And it was a very unfortunate incident where many people died. So you don't see wooden seating anymore. But since this is a grade 2 listed building, they can't renovate the building whatsoever. And now it is one of the only stands in the UK. I think it might be the only. I don't know if it's the only stand. If it isn't the only stand, it's one of very few stands that have wooden seatings in professional football in the UK. And it's extremely interesting because they can't renovate it. If the seat breaks, they have to rebuild a brand new seat the exact same way it looked before. It's the exact same material, exact same paint. Everything has to be the exact same, which is very interesting. In contrast with the other stand that they just built, I went to the Riverside stand, um, which is brand new, which is about that contrast I talked about. You're not going to get in any other stadium in professional football where you've got this one stadium stand that's brand new with on one side of the pitch and then this extremely old stand with wooden seating on the other side of the pitch. So you just get that stark contrast and that like homey environment that I don't think you get in any other modern stadium in the Premier League. And then the last example of historical markers are the Craven Cottage itself, which was built as at the same time as the Johnny Haynes stand to host all of the club's original operations. The whole club was ran through it, and then it was renovated, and now many famous people and many important people within each of the clubs that are playing at the game on match day are able to sit there for free, but you have to be invited. And the interior was renovated a little bit ago. They were able to get permission, but the actual stadium stand itself has not been touched. And the actual building itself, not stand, the actual building and stand itself has not been touched. So, those are three examples of historical markers within the Fulham Stadium. And I think they're important to the UK because they are very unique in the sense that you don't see that often in many stadiums anymore. I feel like a lot of stadiums and clubs in the professional football world in the UK are really pushing away from these historical stadiums. I think you've seen it with Tottenham and West Ham and Everton and Old Trafford getting knocked down in 5-10 years, and all these stadiums that are old and haven't been taken care of from these big clubs that are moving on to larger stadiums for multi-purpose use. And I just don't think you see this homey older classical stadium that has the heritage and the club history with it. And Fulham has that, which I think is extremely unique. And I think a lot of people within the UK and the fans of Fulham are going to like and be proud of. And it serves as a public memory for the people that are able to visit that stadium, and they're able to share the memories that older generations had because it's the same stadium, and it has a lot to offer, and the people there are going to be able to cherish those moments in the stadium because they're not going to leave them when the stadium gets knocked down because it physically can't because it's a listed building in the UK. So yeah, that's it. That goes over the public historical marker section of my digital travel journal. If I have time tonight, I'm gonna post another video, but if not, I will be back tomorrow morning with my fourth travel journal. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and peace.